Blue pill or red pill?
No, we're headed down the rabbit hole, one way or the other.
So would you take the red
Yes,
one?
absolutely.
All right, you need to open it now. This is Alexej Jordanov, and as you can see, we're walking with...
I'm Don Tapscott.
All right. And we are right now like in the middle of Davos. It makes me think, because we're walking, what is the walk that everyone talks about?
They need to walk the talk. While everyone's talking about bringing together social change and corporations acting in the interests of not just shareholders, but stakeholders and businesses that do well by doing good. And there's a lot of talk, and we need more walking. That's a good question.
I like to reflect on what drove you as a kid. What were the toys or the kind of games that actually like defined you as a person today?
Well, the most significant toy I ever had was when I was 10. My parents bought me an electric train. And I had to figure out electricity, and I had almost electrocuted myself. But I developed a real passion for sort of solving problems and doing things.
What is the biggest true paradox that keeps everyone from evolving toward change?
Most puzzling things to me right now is that people don't act in their self-interest. You know, you have a library in the United States that in a small town that's almost free, and it's the single most important thing in helping that town be educated and learn, and they won't support it. And they think it just should be shut down. You have people electing politicians that are populists that take actions that hurt them as people who need health care, people who are in the middle class who need innovation, and people who need education, and they'll vote and support these people. I was always of the view that material reality determines consciousness. If you're really rich, that's going to affect the way you think about the world. You're going to tend to be more conservative. And if you're working class, you're going to view the world differently. It doesn't work like that anymore, and it's very puzzling to me.
We're at Davos here. What's the loop that Davos is stuck, and how can it basically move forward?
Well, the World Economic Forum is an example of one of these multi-stakeholder networks that has very good intentions and has done many good things in the world. But by definition, there's going to be a ton of cynicism about it. You have to bring these leaders, some of them are terrible people, to Davos, because if they're not in the room, you can't talk to them. When I started coming to Davos 20 years ago, there were little ski shops and shops selling wooden cuckoo clocks. And, and shoe stores and so on. Now, virtually every store for a mile from the convention center is all corporations. Or strange little countries that I've never heard of that are trying to get people to invest in their country.
And in your personal experience, what's the latest, greatest loop you broke?
Well, I used to travel 200 days a year, and I don't now. I have grandchildren, and I try and hang out with them. And if people want me to give a speech, unless it's a really important one, they can have me as a video or a hologram.
If I would just give you a random year to appear and to teleport, which year would that be?
I wouldn't change a thing for me.
Oh, yeah?
Right now. Yeah. I'm very frightened about what the future is going to look like, and I'm not a futurist. Some people call me that. I sort of believe that the future is not something to be predicted, it's something to be achieved. And right now, I'm at this point in human history, I don't wish for anything else, and I'm doing whatever I can do in the time that I have left to make sure that this smaller, more distributed, more intelligent, in the sense of cognitive, world that my grandchildren inherit is maybe a better one.
What is the work that will make you win a Nobel Prize? If we talk about achievement and the prediction.
I think I've already done it. No brainer. Nobel Prize Committee. If you're out there, have my people call your people.
All good.
No, I'm proud of what I've done. I mean, as much as anybody, I've described and analyzed the whole digital economy. In fact, I invented that term.
Which term?
The digital economy.
You did that?
Yeah. It was my 1994 book. Yeah, and that book holds up very well. I had to write the 20th anniversary edition of the book. Most of what I said turned out to be true. The sad part of that is I had a section on the dark side, and I said a bunch of things could go wrong, and they basically all did. I said we could lose our privacy, we could have a bifurcation of wealth in society. I said we could have a fragmentation of public discourse, a small handful of people capture the wealth. We could have ultimately structural unemployment where technology would wipe out entire industries. Now that hasn't happened yet, although Donald Trump was elected because there were a lot of unemployed and unhappy people, and they weren't unemployed because of Mexicans or Canadians. They're unemployed because of technology. And you get ready for the next round. 48 of 50 states, the number one job type for men is truck driver. Well, that one's about to go away as well.
What is the biggest opportunity in that sense to be made?
To get knowledgeable, to develop your BS detectors so you know what's truthful, and to organize, make change happen in your school and in your family and in your community, and then come into the streets if you have to. Form new partnerships. Multi-stakeholder partnerships are a good way of going. But the world is just it's unsustainable, it's too conflicted, it's too unjust, it's too unequal. We need to organize, and people need to do that, because it's not going to come down from above. They have led us into this situation, and now it's time for people to take the power. Am I saying power to the people? God, I said that 50 years ago when I was a protester. And when I graduated from university, I was an organizer against the war in Vietnam, for women's rights, civil rights, and to bring about social change.
And what is something that everyone individually can do to go towards that better development of the society in which we live in?
Well, everyone's got a different role to play. You have to find your role. I always tell my kids, live a principled life of consequence. Try and do the right thing. It's easy to make money. And, any very passionate, motivated, educated person can do well. But it's much harder to bring about real profound change in the world. And my generation is leaving your generation with a bit of a mess. Sorry about that. So history is really calling you young people forth to bring about this kind of change in society.
Blue pill or red pill? Blue pill.
Yeah.
Things continue as they are, and you don't change reality.
Yeah.
And the red is you go down the rabbit hole.
No, we're headed down the rabbit hole, one way or the other.
So would you take the red one?
Absolutely.
All right, you need to open it now.
Open it.
There's something in it, yes.
Enter the portal to the future.
And this is it. This is your ticket to the future, Don. From the 3rd to the 5th of April in Groningen, the north of the Netherlands,
Okay.
to co-create with us.
That's got potential.